I think, I don't know, I think what I've seen, especially in the recent weeks, I think initially while Nuno was there,
Yeah.
I think it was just a case of, I mean, you're lining up to get the big promotion or the big job,
Mm-hmm.
and you end up being stuck where you are.
Hello and welcome to Menace and the Monk. We are reviewing Liverpool versus Spurs, and joining us are two very special guests. For the first time on Menace and the Monk, we have Raihan Vadra and we have Alok Badri from Tottenham Hotspur, India. How are you guys doing?
All good, all good. No Tottenham, so sometimes that's a good thing. We've had no Tottenham, I think, for the last 10, 11 days. Sometimes that's a good thing, but I think with Conte, we're kind of missing it.
Yeah. Alok, how are you doing, brother? How are you feeling? No Spurs for a long
Same. I
time.
think. I mean, yeah. It saves a lot of heartbreak, but I think I'm ready to get my heart broken again. So it's fine.
Well, Alok and I have met once, and that was during the 2019 Champions League final. And let's start from there, because I think that Liverpool and Spurs, both clubs, have a lot in common. We have an owner who believes in the business side of things, very, very shrewd, things like that. But the 2019 Champions League final, and Rehan, I'll come to you first. That was like a turning point for both the clubs, wherein we went on to win that final and then the league, and then Tottenham sort of had a mini capitulation, I would say. What's your view on that, and your take on how things would look moving forward?
I think you're right. I think Spurs and Liverpool have so much in common. I one of my closest friends is a Liverpool fan, and we've discussed this before. How we've, like you said, the owners, similar trajectory. How you guys were maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
We are going through a bit of a phase like that. But yeah, 2000. I would say, I think the turning point sort of. I'd drag it back slightly earlier than that. When you remember that 4-1 where we beat you guys at Wembley,
Yeah,
in 2017 October, I think.
2017 October, yeah.
I think that for Liverpool, that was a sort of game where hopefully you will now look back at Tottenham 0, United 3 and see it the same way. But I think that was the game that sort of clicked you guys into gear. But yeah, the Champions League final, obviously, I think that was one of the most heartbreaking nights I've had, where we kind of, as most Spurs fans, realized that when Salah put that first minute penalty in, that was kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
But no way did I think that we would crash the way we have in the last 2 years. Obviously, Pochettino was amazing. What he did with that squad without any transfers in that season was amazing. But the cracks had been showing since January. The UCL run really papered over that. And no investment, and bad investment, I would say, in that summer as well, the summer after the Champions League final, with Ndombele and Sessegnon and Jack Clark for 11 million. So bad investment.
Mm-hmm.
And this is clearly the result. No clear idea, after Pochettino. You go for Mourinho, then even in the managerial search, there was no clear plan. Like, okay, this is a philosophy we want to play, we're going to hire a manager like that. You end up with Nuno, who's basically Mourinho without the winning mentality. So yeah, not been a good few years, but I'm excited about Spurs again, and that's solely because of Conte. He's one of my favorite managers. He was one of my favorite managers even when he was at Inter, and obviously not when he was at Chelsea, but when he was the manager of Italy before that. And I think, I'm really hopeful, really excited for at least for the next 17 months.
Right. Alok, so talking about Conte, and we'll come to Klopp as well. Now, I know that you were over the moon with the Conte appointment. We had been talking about it, you and as you should be, right? What's your immediate expectation from Antonio Conte, let's say for this season?
Ah, I think it's like Rehan said, over the last two, 3 seasons after 2019 Champions League final, it has been downhill with Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
We have been expecting quite a few things from the club with Mourinho's appointment and whatever happened after that, and this team. My only expectation right now is to just give this team some kind of a confidence.
Okay.
That's something that we are currently lacking from. If you see on the pitch, our defense over the last 5 games have looked phenomenal. Even someone like Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, and even Ben Davies is looking like a world-class defender currently. I think they know how to play football. They, of course, at the highest level playing for the last few years. But over the last 2 years, they have lost that confidence. They are missing simple passes, and they are just not getting the basics correct.
Mm-hmm.
What I expect from Conte this season, I don't care if we win a trophy or not this season.
Okay.
This season, I only want Conte to bring that confidence back in every player, especially Kane, because Kane is clearly lacking that currently. But it's kind of getting back into his game. I feel so, and bringing some youth players back into the team. He has done it with Oliver Skip, and Oliver Skip is actually probably he's at this point of time he will probably go on to win the Young Player of the Year award this year because he's phenomenal. But I just want that to happen across the club, and he might change the mentality of the club from top to bottom, including the staff, the manager. I mean, the chairman, the owner. Things might look different come the next transfer window. So that's the basic expectation that I have from Conte. But I know Conte is a winner, and he probably just might get us a trophy. And I'm hopeful for that. But again, like I told you, I'm ready to get my heart broken again.
Fair enough. And guys, coming to Liverpool though, and this is a Liverpool-based channel, so we speak about Liverpool a lot. I mean, we have 100 plus videos, and about 100 of them are about Liverpool. But coming from you guys, since I mentioned that there are obvious similarities between the two clubs, what have you? I don't want to get into things about what you think of Klopp and everything, but what have you guys made of Liverpool's start to the season? And since we are going to play each other, what's sort of your take on that? How are you? What's the best approach according to you for that game?
I mean, first getting to the start, I think phenomenal, much better than I expected. I thought when on the podcast that I do, when we did our preseason predictions, and obviously it was very fresh off the back of Ronaldo coming to United.
Right.
I was thinking, Liverpool third, United fourth, or is it going to be the other way around? Obviously, with that 1 month January period in mind where your players are gone for AFCON, which I think everyone has in mind when talking about Liverpool. But, I mean, as with a top manager or top coach team, you guys have done so well and are looking so scary this season that, I mean, I'm obviously now Conte's got me excited for every game again. I'm looking forward to playing the big teams. But before he came in, I was looking at that fixture and I was thinking, a friend of mine is going for the game, and I was thinking, dude, you really don't want to go there. I mean, like, go for the Norwich game or something, but just sit at home for this one. Because one of my first Spurs games was Liverpool Spurs when you guys beat us 5-0. And I was like, dude, you don't want to live through that again. But yeah, but now obviously the way you guys have started, scary. But I think it'll be a very interesting tactical battle. I think the way Conte sets up will be very interesting because we've been very good on the break under him. But how does the back three cope with Salah and Mane and Jota? I mean, You guys, they must, I think, scored almost 20 goals combined, if I'm not wrong, maybe more with Salah.
Salah is on 14 goals, yeah, for the Premier
So,
League.
so almost 25 then, all three combined. So,
Close to
I
that.
mean, it's going to be
25, yeah.
interesting because I can see the way Tottenham, link up on the counter, getting to Liverpool, but Thiago is the one that's kind of worrying me because even though Skip and Højbjerg are good, I think both have COVID or have just recovered from COVID. So I don't know if they'll be able to start. Plus, with a three-man midfield that you guys will have, I think that may end up overrunning Spurs. So, I mean, you may see Spurs go in a 3-5-2 instead of a 3-4-3. So it'll be an interesting game. But I think, I mean, I'm even with Conte, I am probably still leaning towards Liverpool winning.
So Alok, Raihan is obviously talking about the tactics into the game, but this is the sort of game where Spurs can make a statement, right? This is the sort of game you're playing at home. Spurs have had a long rest. Yes, there are COVID, and sometimes breaks are not good. But this is the kind of fixture that Spurs can make a real statement in. So what's your take on that? Do you think you see some chinks in the armor for Liverpool?
So ideally, if it hadn't been for Liverpool, I would have been of an opinion that this game would be the game where Spurs can turn up. If it had been City, I would definitely be sure that Spurs will turn up and probably beat City, because that has been the case over the last few seasons. Somehow we haven't been able to do that against Liverpool since that October 2017 game when we beat you for 1-4-0, whatever it was the score. The case has been, I think, the way Liverpool press. I mean,
Right.
After they lose the ball, and because we currently lack that confidence to move the ball around quickly, those one-touch passes. Those short turnarounds, or playing in those half spaces in the final third. That's something that's not happening with Tottenham. Although we've had some rest, but you have to understand that even today, only 16 players were there on the training ground, and our full squad is still not training together because of COVID.
Right.
And the implications of COVID can sometimes run for a longer period of time. So I'm not sure how many of our players would be actually fit enough to play against Liverpool, but for 90 minutes, and when Liverpool are actually chasing our players like dogs, and I'm like they really do chase very, very frantically. So I'm not sure if we are up for this particular game. I would be surprised to see if Spurs actually turns up for this game. To be really honest, if it hadn't been for COVID, probably I'm not sure. Probably might have. But this COVID concern actually is a little bit of a downer for me for this game.
And I think the issue is also that with our game tomorrow against Leicester, it's not going to be much of an indication for what's to come against Liverpool, because Leicester have 9 players.
Yeah.
Leicester have no fit centre backs.
Correct.
So, so I don't really think it's going to be an indication. So it'll be interesting to see how Conte basically, sets up. He's going to have to go with the Jose Mourinho strategy of not trying to lose the game rather than trying to go for the kill.
Yeah. Look, I'll tell you something about Liverpool, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but our last 2 games against both Wolves and Villa, we found them tough to break down. I think Spurs have players that even with COVID that are at least on par with these 2 teams. I'm inclined to say better, but since you guys are mentioning COVID, and I'm saying at least at par. So I think it will be much closer than a lot of people expect it to be, even with our swashbuckling attackers and everything. It will be much closer than that. But speaking of attackers, Raihan, what's gone wrong with Harry Kane? The guy was going toe to toe with Mo Salah, and then the City fiasco happened. What happened? Did you guys curse him or something?
I think, I don't know, I think what I've seen, especially in the recent weeks, I think initially while Nuno was there,
Yeah,
I think it was just a case of, like, I mean, you're lining up to get the big promotion or the big job,
Mm-hmm.
and you end up being stuck where you are, and then someone like Nuno's in charge,
Yeah.
and you're dropping games in the Conference League, you're barely beating Watford, etc. It's not a good look. It's not encouraging, So I
Mm-hmm.
can understand that he's had his first human moment in playing for Spurs for the last 5 years, where he's not had the thing. But I mean, to see him also not scoring under Conte, it's a bit concerning. But I have confidence in Kane. I think he'll come good. And when he gets that one game and then the second game where he's got a goal and a goal, I think after that the goals will flow because he's been playing well. Like,
Mm.
I mean, he's very essential to this team. Conte also said he can't. I mean, he doesn't see this team starting without Kane.
Right.
He's completely essential to the way even Conte plays, and I think obviously he is, because of the two we have in midfield and Skip and Højbjerg. They're not the most creative.
Mm-hmm.
Although Skip and Højbjerg both have, I think, provided Kane with, I think, a couple of opportunities to score just in the last two games.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that he is dropping deeper to produce that sort of creativity. Although that's the excuse we've used this entire season, even under Nuno. I just think it's a matter of confidence. He's on a bit of a drought. It's lasting much longer than any drought should. But I
Mm.
think it's a matter of confidence. I think when the goals come, they'll come good.
Alok, now let me ask you a little bit of an uncomfortable question. We've had this moment where we let our best player go, and our sort of good golden period started after that. Do you think moving Kane on would be a good idea for Spurs? It's out in the
Uh,
public domain that he wants to move on,
yeah.
and once you make up your
That,
mind,
that,
it's difficult, right? We've seen that with numerous players, even at successful clubs.
yeah.
Do you think Spurs will be better off without Harry Kane now?
Well, this summer, if you remember, we had that clubhouse conversation, and
Yes.
I told you that I would be happy if Kane moves now because I expected at that point of time Conte to come, and I probably Rehan and I were only speaking at probably at some other podcast, and we were saying the same thing that if Kane goes, I would have trusted Conte definitely to use that money, get some really good players in, and we would have probably challenged for the title right away.
Hmm.
Uh, then the transfer didn't happen for a number of reasons because probably City never paid the money that Spurs wanted for
Right.
Kane.
Right.
And the issue with Kane was, I think, always was with that he couldn't see us competing for the title and competing for
Hmm.
the trophies. And for a player of his caliber, he needs to be challenging for those trophies. He needs to be playing in the Champions League. Uh, with Conte coming, I don't think Kane would leave now. I would actually see Kane probably signing a new contract with a release clause, of course, and he would probably stay another season to see how things work with Conte. If he can come back to the Champions League, or if he can challenge for the title in the next 1 or 2 seasons or not.
Hmm.
But I don't see Kane leaving now. Definitely not now because I don't think City will come back for Kane now
Okay.
because I think they will go for better players or younger strikers now because Kane will be 29 next year,
Hmm.
and I really don't see City going for an older striker like this. The only club that I see coming for Kane now is United
Yeah.
because I think looking at their team currently, like a out and out striker is the only thing that is missing currently in their
Correct.
jigsaw puzzle. But I don't think if United will be paying 150 odd million or 120 odd million for Kane. So I think Kane is doomed for life now that I mean, he's always said that he was born because his family is a Spurs fan.
Yeah.
He was born a Spurs fan, and whatever reasons, and his brothers and his agents and whatever happened in the summer, I think for another 2 seasons he doesn't go. But at the age of 30, if he hasn't won any trophy, then I think he will go out. Uh, but having said that, I don't think Kane will ever move out of England because there were a lot of talks, and we were always speaking about if Real Madrid comes for him or if Bayern Munich comes for him, what happens then? He's never going to leave England because he has his eyes set on Alan Shearer's record, and he
Right.
knows that only he is the player that who can break it now. So, and of course, we don't do business with Chelsea, and now Chelsea's got Lukaku. So the only two clubs that can come for Kane are City and United. City won't, and I don't see United coming for Kane next season.
Hmm.
I don't see United coming for Kane while Ronaldo is there, because
Yeah,
Ronaldo now plays that position,
Yeah.
and neither Ronaldo nor Kane are going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be the
Second
second
player.
choice. Kane's not going to go there.
yeah,
Like, see, even though City is such a big club, Kane would have gone to City, and he would have been the biggest player there.
Yeah.
right.
He's England captain, etc. But you go to a team with Messi or Ronaldo, you're not the biggest player there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And when you make that 100 million plus move, you want to be the star of the team you go to. So I don't see.
definitely.
I think this Conte situation has changed it. I think if we get top four, then he'll be happy to stay.
Right. Gentlemen, just the last few questions and then we'll close things off. Coming to the game back again and talking about Liverpool, what is which is the one player, or what is the biggest hurdle that you see for Spurs in this game? Is it the obvious Mohamed Salah, or do you see other players causing you trouble?
I mean, obviously, like you said, the obvious one is Salah.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, like Alok said, Dyer, Davies, and Sanchez, which is going to be the probable back three, have improved. I mean, Salah's the type of player that is. I mean, he's going to leave those three for dead. So obviously
Okay.
he's the one, but I'm not going to be obvious and pick him. I think Thiago, because like I said, I really like Højbjerg and Skip, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to deal with all three of the midfielders. They're going to have to focus on Thiago. If they don't focus and take Thiago out of the game, then we're really going to struggle, because his passes, if he just transitions through that midfield, then we're going to have an issue.
Right.
I
Look,
think
for
for
you.
me, I think the fullbacks. I think for me, it's the fullbacks. Now you have to understand how our fullbacks are playing now. They are much
I
higher
didn't think of that.
on. Both of our fullbacks are currently much higher on the wings,
Right.
and the two centre backs that will probably now Romero is not playing, so you have to understand Sanchez will play on one of the outer centre backs, and he still has pace, but Davies doesn't have pace. So now that problem is that if Reguilon, I don't know whether he's going to play or not, or even if Sessegnon plays, he's going to be so high up the field that probably he's going to leave a huge hole in that left back area for us. Now, probably Højbjerg moves along with Davies and tries to cover that area, but even Højbjerg isn't too pacey of a midfielder. So for me, it's the fullbacks that will probably change the game. And if we try to, put our two midfielders towards the wings to cover for those fullbacks, then that the midfield of three players are gonna cut a big hole there, because Thiago will then run havoc in that midfield. So it's gonna be a very tricky situation for us to which area to focus with. It's the midfield or the fullbacks.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. We will just do the predictions. Alok, I'll come to you first. Predictions for the game. I know that we have to
Oh,
play
before
Newcastle, and you have to. Yes,
yeah,
please.
before that I would ask you, if there is any Tottenham player that is actually concerning for you,
There,
that
there are
that might cause some problems for.
there
Yeah.
are a lot of Tottenham players that concern me. Heung-min Son. I have been a huge
Of course.
Son fan. One of the things I was hoping is that somehow he doesn't sign and Klopp snaps him up. But obviously that's not going to happen. He is too good to
Yeah.
be second choice.
Yeah.
He can turn a game at any point in time. I'm sure he can. I think Spurs do have players, and when you're talking about a player like Harry Kane, and I know we spoke about him at length and everything.
Oh, by the way, let me just jump in. I don't think Son is going to play.
Is he injured?
Yeah, COVID.
Oh, damn.
COVID.
So
Oh.
I don't know if he's, because they don't tell with COVID, know which player had it or not. But I don't think he's. I'm not sure if he's one of the players who's come back in the last 2 days. If he is, then
Yeah.
he may play.
I
at the
think he was
moment.
one of the first. I think he was one of the first players to get COVID. So
Yeah.
probably he will
Yeah.
probably be the first one to come back.
But yeah, I mean, Son is obviously, I think he's personally, I like him better than Harry Kane because, you know, obviously I'm thinking from a Liverpool point of view, who fits that kind of a thing. But when you talk about a player like Harry Kane, look, these players can turn up any point in time. You know, this game could be the game where Harry Kane decides, okay, this is it. I'm going to go back to what I do, scoring goals. So Spurs have players that can hurt us. I mean, Højbjerg again. Højbjerg reminds me a little bit, and I've spoken to you about it. Alok, he reminds me a little bit of Lucas Leiva, not in terms of ability, but in terms of, you know, how he gives everything for the team, how he puts his body on the line for the team. So those kind of players always worry me because, you know, you know that, okay, the technical ability might not be the best, but this player is going to, you know, be there. He's going to, like against Wolves, Connor Cody injured, puts in a last minute goal line clearance. Those kind of players can hurt you.
Plus,
Like,
Højbjerg scored that crazy goal against you guys last season.
exactly.
Which everyone forgets because we were so bad that day.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so Spurs, not just one, Spurs have a lot of players that can hurt this Liverpool team. And let's not forget, we are playing away from home. But just to close things off, Alok, I'll come to you first. Your prediction for the game.
At this point in time, I'd be happy with the draw.
Okay.
I would be ecstatic if this match win. Like, I would actually be calling you late in the night and I'll be screaming on that phone that, hey, Nidhi. But I don't see that happening. Like you can, I mean, but I think a draw would be a fair result considering the situation that we are currently in with no match practice, players coming from COVID. Liverpool are actually playing really well. And I second Raihan that at the start of the season, I did not expect Liverpool to do so well, considering the kind of transfer window that you had and the way the other teams were, you know, strengthening up. But to see Liverpool at really, you know, going at it and against City and Chelsea, it's actually remarkable. And it's just the way Klopp has made this team. And it would be a dream for me to see my team doing the way Liverpool is doing currently. It's just that the same team, 3 years stretch, and you know the same players are doing it week in, week out.
Yeah.
So it will be really difficult for us to get a win when this Sunday, but it's football. You never know. And like
Exactly.
Conte said, one normal day of Barclays
is all I ask for.
But that's never going to happen. So you may never know. Anything can happen. But I'd be happy with a draw. And I see a 1-1 draw somehow. Okay. I don't see a clean sheet in this game.
Okay, wow. Raihan, for you?
See, I mean, I'm not going to give a neutral prediction because I'm here, so I'm talking as a Tottenham fan. So I am going to go with 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Wow, yeah. That will be something. I mean, scoring 2 against Conte's team, that also will be difficult for Liverpool. But yeah, 2-2 will be enthralling, man.
Yeah. And a last-minute penalty.
I want a 2-2 draw like the one we had at Anfield, where Wanyama scored that crazy one, Salah scored a crazy one. But I want that sort of a game.
Who's the referee for this one? Who's the referee for this one? That is what it depends on.
Have you seen the video of John Moss in that game?
Of course, numerous times. Right? He's like, screw it, I'm going to give a penalty.
I'm giving the penalty.
But yeah, that's what makes Premier League. But thank you so much, gentlemen. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us. Please make sure that you like this video. The algorithm works in such a way that if you share it, it definitely helps the channel. Make sure you subscribe and please follow India Spurs. They are doing some absolutely fantastic work. And there is one more surprise for India Spurs, which I'm not going to reveal yet because I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth. Cheers and bye-bye.